Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you had an amazing week. This is your Weekly Rewind, getting you all caught up on this week's stories.
2 men are dead and a woman is hurt after 2 separate shootings that happened over the weekend in Norfolk. Officers arrested one of the suspects involved in a shooting that happened at a Church's Chicken on Princess Anne Road.
Meanwhile, Norfolk police continue to investigate a deadly shooting that happened on Davidson Street. 10 on your side's Michael Rinker joins us live in Norfolk with more on both deadly shootings. Michael?
Katie, Kiana, both of these shootings happened Saturday morning. The one that happened at Church's Chicken happened just before noon, and we know a man died at that shooting and a woman was injured. Now, police were able to make an arrest in the shooting. They arrested 32-year-old Larry Jackson of Hampton. He's actually expected in court here today. Of course, if he makes the appearance, we will have the latest for you throughout the day here on Wavy and on wavy.com. But he's charged with second-degree murder, malicious wounding, and 3 more charges. And right now, he does not have bond. MPD did identify the male victim in that shooting as Sherrod Rogers of Norfolk, and the woman is expected to make a recovery. A sign posted on Church's door says that they're going to be closed until Wednesday. And then on Saturday morning, earlier in the morning, around 3 a.m., that is where officers responded to Davidson Street to an unrelated shooting that killed 38-year-old Michael Spencer. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, details are limited in that shooting. Davidson is a residential street that's not far off from Chesapeake Boulevard. And of course, as Norfolk police continue to investigate that shooting, if you have any information to share with police, you can do so by leaving an anonymous tip through the P3 Tips app. Live in Norfolk, Michael Rinker, 10 on your side.
Thank you, Michael. Continuing coverage this morning, an HRT bus driver is seriously hurt and had to be airlifted after a crash in Hampton. Police say on Sunday afternoon, officers were called to that crash on South Littleback River and Settlers Landing Road. The bus driver was pinned between the front of the bus and a car. The bus did not have any passengers on board, but the cause of this crash is now under investigation.
Continuing coverage this morning in Perquimans County. Police made an arrest after an early morning pursuit over the weekend. It began after reports of a reckless driver on North Carolina Highway 37. When deputies came across the suspect's vehicle, investigators say it almost hit one of them. The chase then continued on the wrong side of the highway. This morning, that driver faces multiple charges, including DWI.
A teen is hurt after an accidental shooting in Chesapeake. Police tell 10 on your side that this shooting happened on Adamasco Street on Saturday night when a group of teens had a gun and it went off, hitting another teen. That teenager was then rushed to the hospital but is expected to be okay.
The Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia and the Eastern Shore is hosting a mobile distribution event this Wednesday. It will offer shelf-stable pantry items, produce, and protein for up to 2,000 households. The food bank will also partner with the Red Cross to offer fire prevention resources, as the winter usually comes with a rising risk of fires. The distribution event is at Veterans United Home Loans Amphitheater from 9 until 1 while supplies last. If you plan to go, please enter through Dam Neck Road. Democrats are calling for a number of changes to immigration enforcement after 2 deadly shootings in Minneapolis. Washington correspondent Vinay Simla joins us live now. And Vinay, what are the chances the agency gets funding by the deadline?
Yeah, right now it seems like Republicans and Democrats are far apart in these negotiations. Democrats released a list of demands. Some Republicans have called them ridiculous. And if Homeland Security funding expires at the end of this week, it could affect things like the Coast Guard, FEMA, and TSA. Congress has a Friday deadline to agree on funding for the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats say they want to use the appropriations process to put guardrails on immigration enforcement after federal agents shot and killed a demonstrator, Alex Preddy, in Minneapolis.
ICE is completely and totally out of control. They've gone way too far, and the American people want them reined in.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer released a list of demands to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats have asked for no masks on immigration agents, a reasonable use of force policy, body cameras, and judicial warrants.
Most of them are things that every other police department in America already adheres to.
This isn't a serious negotiation. This is all happening in the media, trying to motivate a radical left base.
Republicans say some of those demands are not practical.
If rioters get to wear masks, then law enforcement gets to wear masks as well.
But Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez says there is room for negotiation.
What can be in there, I think the body cameras make a lot of sense.
And in July, Congress passed the Big Beautiful Bill Act. It included $75 billion in federal funding for ICE. Now, there is more money for ICE up for negotiation right now. Senator Mark Warner says it's about the tune of $10 billion. And he says if Congress is thinking about giving ICE more money, it should come with more guardrails. Katie, Kiana?
Renee, before you go, there is also the issue of warrants. Democrats want ICE agents to use a warrant. What does that mean, and where is that in this negotiation?
Yeah, the acting ICE administrator, Todd Lyons, sent a memo to ICE agents saying they can use an administrative warrant to go into homes or private property and arrest people who are here illegally. Now, that is different from a judicial warrant, which is what Democrats want, which is signed off by a federal judge. An administrative warrant is signed off by somebody in the administration, by someone part of the executive branch. Democrats say that violates the Fourth Amendment, and they want a federal judge as part of the process. Republicans say they would not agree to that. They say that is Democrats trying to slow down the process of immigration enforcement.
All right, Vinay Simlot, thank you so much. Well, the Department of Justice says it will allow lawmakers access to the unredacted Epstein files starting today. That is according to a notice sent out by the Assistant Attorney General. The Department of Justice released 3 million pages of evidence so far.
An attorney for Ghislaine Maxwell says she plans to plead the Fifth during a deposition today. Maxwell is expected to speak before a House Oversight Committee. Attorney David Marcus told News Nation that she will decline to answer all of the questions from the committee. She's currently serving 20 years for sex trafficking.
Developing from Norfolk, a suspect arrested in connection with a shooting at a Church's Chicken was in court this morning. That shooting happened early Saturday at the Church's on Princess Anne Road. A man was killed and a woman was injured. 32-year-old Larry Jackson faces second-degree murder, malicious wounding, and other charges. New at midday, in his first press conference, we are hearing from Norfolk's new public schools superintendent, Dr. Jeff Rose. 10 on your side's Regina Mobley attended and is breaking down what was discussed.
Dr. Jeff Rose hails from Fulton County Public Schools, and he told me this morning he has a great deal of experience of dealing with communities that are in transition. I'm just outside downtown Norfolk. Entire neighborhoods are being redeveloped. There's so many uncertainties in Norfolk right now. Where will families live? Where will the children attend schools? But he told me this. He doesn't come to Norfolk with a blueprint on how to help the school system. He wants to hear from you.
One of the most important things we can do is understand our kids and have relationships with them. That no matter what, we can talk about instructional strategies, and we should, about what is scientifically based, what we know is best as it relates to delivering instruction, pedagogy, etc. But I will tell you this, the number one strategy, the cornerstone of this work is relationships with our students and vice versa. All of our students need to feel safe, and they need to feel as though they have an adult or multiple that they can turn to when they don't feel safe or they have needs that they need to have met.
New at midday from Virginia Beach, police say they have made an arrest in connection to a shots fired incident that happened on November 2nd. 18-year-old Nathaniel Powell of Portsmouth has been charged with reckless handling of a firearm and shooting from a vehicle, among other charges. Police say it happened in the College Park neighborhood. Suffolk police arrested Powell during a traffic stop on November 28th. This midday, we're on your side with a recall alert. BMW is recalling nearly 90,000 cars because the engine starter may catch on fire. Transportation officials say the starter may overheat. BMW dealers will replace the engine starter for free, but this comes after BMW recalled more than 145,000 vehicles back in October, also over a starter issue that could also cause them to overheat and spark a fire. New at midday, we are checking on the cost of a Valentine's staple, flowers. Agricultural specialists at Miami International Airport in Florida expect to process around 990 million stems of cut flowers before the holiday. Around 90% of the fresh cut flowers that are sold nationwide for Valentine's Day come in through Miami, and many of those flowers come from Colombia. The vice president of the Association of Floral Importers of America says that although business is good, consumers will be feeling the tariff price pinch.
So the overall tariffs on flowers from our major countries anywhere from 10 to 25%. This adds significant dollars to the bouquets that are coming in. Every consumer is going to have to face additional costs.
Officials say despite the tariffs, flowers continue to be a major import. Miami International Airport received nearly 3.5 tons of cargo last year, with flowers making up about 400,000 tons of that. New at midday, emergency personnel responded to an incident at Langley Air Force Base this morning. Officials say it happened outside the LaSalle gate. They closed the gate and visitors center as a safety precaution. That gate has since been reopened. When our crews showed up, the gate was running normally. Now, we are working to learn more about what exactly happened here, but stick with us online and on air for those updates. Also new, Virginia State Police are investigating a deadly SUV crash that happened yesterday afternoon in the town of Cape Charles. Police say a 2018 Buick Enclave was traveling on Arlington Road near Sapphire Court when it went off of the right side of the road and into a ditch. Troopers say that the vehicle flipped several times before landing on its roof. 19-year-old Michael Reese died at the scene. Now, state police say that he was not wearing a seatbelt at the time. The crash remains under investigation. Finally, this midday, hats off to a man who lives to jump. 91-year-old Peter Quinney just took home the gold in the British Trampoline Championship. He's a former fitness and parachute trainer, and he hasn't stopped bouncing in 40 years. Quinney coaches the sport 4 hours a week at his local gym and has even developed a trampoline program for children and adults with special needs. Recently, he competed in this British championship and impressed the judges. Can you believe this? He did a double backflip somersault.
It's absolutely great from an individual's point of view because it exercises just about every part of the body. And it also gives you the opportunity to sort of get used to your balance when you're wobbling around all over the place. And it's really good for the special needs pupils. And when you do rebound therapy with people who are particularly handicapped, it's absolutely wonderful to see how they can achieve things that they never ever thought they would attempt, let alone achieve.
This is Quinney's second gold. He also won the championship back in 1960. Besides taking the top prize, Quinney got a special award for his inspirational contribution to the sport. Now, Quinney says he hopes to celebrate someday his 100th birthday by doing 100 backflips.
A new study by Virginia Tech quantifies exactly how far land around the Chesapeake Bay is sinking.
The study, published in Nature Scientific Reports, claims that Hampton sinks about 2.3 millimeters per year, while Ocean City, Maryland, sinks about 2.4 millimeters annually. And Washington, D.C. and Baltimore are sinking about 1 millimeter each year.
Why remains to be seen. The team is exploring localized groundwater withdrawal as well as long-term tectonic movements as possibilities. Several local prosecutors teamed up to address the federal operations. 10 on your side's Nick Broadway talked to one of them and got his response.
Regina, Ashley, since we covered a reported Norfolk ICE arrest caught on camera last Friday, our news teams received several reportings of ICE sightings. It's happening as some of our Commonwealth's attorneys have already started expanding a coalition called Fight Against Federal Overreach. The coalition consists of Portsmouth Commonwealth's attorney Stephanie Morales and Norfolk's Fadahi, along with 7 other elected prosecutors from around the country, places like Minneapolis and Philadelphia included. They met in D.C. last week, joined by those who prosecuted the Derek Chauvin and Tree of Life synagogue cases. Their goal is making a plan on how they will go about prosecuting federal agents if they commit a crime in their jurisdiction. Fadahi says by doing this, they could prevent federal agents from breaking the law, creating some form of deterrence. When asked about last Friday's alleged ICE arrest caught on camera, you can see it here, Fadhi says it might be distasteful, but he cannot prosecute it. This group is aimed at more extreme escalations from federal officers, like the 2 fatal shootings in Minneapolis.
If we have to use them, the law applies to everybody. Ordinary citizens, local police, federal police, all equally. And I intend to hold everybody equally accountable if they commit violent crimes in our city.
Thanks, Nick. We have some sad news to report. Police say they found a missing woman dead. Virginia Beach detectives say they located the body of 74-year-old Martha Sales. Investigators issued a critically missing adult alert for her. At this point, police say there are no signs of foul play.
Well, Suffolk police hope you can help them solve a nearly 3-year-old cold case. They got reports of a fatal hit and run on February 12, 2023 on Godwin Boulevard. It happened about a half hour after the Super Bowl game ended that night. Police say 30-year-old Kendrick Jackson was riding home with a roommate when he fell out of a car and was struck by 2 passing vehicles. We talked with Jackson's mother, who lives in Alabama. She's pleading for anyone to come forward.
To lose your child in any capacity is devastating, but to lose your child in such a horrific way with no justice behind it is just, I can't even describe the words. It just takes my breath away.
Coming up at 6, more on the case and why the victim's mother believes the circumstances surrounding her son's death are suspicious.
It's been the talk all weekend, folks discussing their memories of MacArthur Center in downtown Norfolk. Well, last week, city officials announced it was closing and will be demolished. Drone 10 flew above the 27-year-old shopping center recently. When it opened in 1999, it was the premier retail facility in Virginia. 10 on your side's Angela Bohan joins us live from a shop that's still open inside the mall. Angela, you talked with a few owners who would like to see a different outcome.
I sure did, Regina. In fact, here at the Cool and Eclectic shop, the owner says he worked really hard to get this space, and he wishes the city of Norfolk would fight to get more business here at the mall rather than tearing it down. I also talked with some customers to get their thoughts.
It's completely gutting. I cannot believe malls. I'm 59, and I grew up in malls, and I worked in malls. And the fact that malls don't exist anymore, you can't shop inside anymore.
I think it's nuts. It's a beautiful mall, back-to-back cruise lines coming in, condos everywhere, and it's just sad. I've been looking at this mall and I'm thinking, why couldn't they get people in here?
Now, the city says demolition of MacArthur Center would start in late 2026, but the mall would actually close at the end of June. And some stores like White House Black Market say they plan to be open right until the very end. And the vision announced by the city is a mixed-use approach to include apartments, hotel space, and ground-level shops.
A Chesapeake mom is calling on changes after she says her son was called the N-word during a high school basketball game.
What was supposed to be a normal matchup between the Great Bridge High School and Hickory High School JV basketball teams quickly took a turn on Friday. Tiana Morton says her son was ejected from the game after reacting to what she calls racial slurs from someone on the Hickory team. She was in the crowd during the game and says the referees had been made aware of the language prior to the incident. She says her son is currently under suspension due to his reaction.
We are working to find out if the players on the Hickory team will face any disciplinary action. Morton says she immediately began reaching out to Chesapeake public school leaders, and she shared her concerns at the Chesapeake School Board last night.
I'm hoping that there are some policies that are put in place and that this is an equitable investigation.
Chesapeake Public Schools said it is not able to comment on any potential disciplinary actions. The Virginia High School League says it will work in collaboration with the schools to review the incident.
The debate continues in Richmond as lawmakers review bills that would change the Commonwealth's tax structure. Yesterday, both parties sponsored tax bills regarding how Virginia collects taxes.
One proposal would add a sales tax to an array of services. 10 on your side's Michael Rinker joins us live in Portsmouth to explain what services could be taxed. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Katie and Kiana. These really focus on House Bill 978 and 979. They are both sponsored by Democratic House Delegate by a Fairfax delegate. And in these proposals, it would include some of these taxes on services like delivery services as well as dry cleaning services. And so Vivian Watts is the main sponsor of both of these proposals. Affordability has been a main topic there in Richmond. It was last year during the election cycle, and this tax proposal would add those taxes to a number of services. And Delegate Watts says that Virginia has become too reliant on just the income tax, and this current tax structure does not keep up with the changes in consumer spending. Opponents say it will make life more expensive for Virginians and believe that it could make people spend less on those types of services. Now, House Bill 979 focuses on income tax reform. It would increase the standard deduction while creating new tax income brackets for higher earners. And under this proposal, the standard deduction would be raised to $20,000 for joint filers in 2027. Now, House Bill 978, while it would add some new taxes on certain services, it would also do away with the 1% sales tax on groceries as well as certain hygiene products. And again, right now, these are proposals that are in a subcommittee, and they could be amended before they are up for a full vote there in the House. Live in Portsmouth, Michael Rinker, 10 on your side.
Thank you so much, Michael. Valentine's Day is this Saturday.
And the AARP wants to remind you about romance and friendship scams. 10 on your side's Kagan Hughes spoke with someone on what you should look out for. Kagan, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Katie, Kiana. With the day of love approaching, you don't have to be looking for love to be targeted by a relationship scam. The FBI says criminals use a fake online identity to gain a victim's affection and trust. AARP says there has been an increase in scammers taking the friendship route, building deep connections by claiming shared interests, experiences, and struggles. But whether it's a romance or friendship scam, these start out online, by social media or even a text. That's when they earn your trust. And AARP says then they ask for money or pitch an investment opportunity. Some red flags can be pressure to move your conversations to an encrypted app and urgent requests for money.
The biggest thing for the person to remember is that they are not stupid, they're not dumb, they are a victim of a professional criminal. They are a victim of organized crime.
If you lost money, report it to the police and report the scam to the Federal Trade Commission. Kagan Hughes, 10 on your side.
New at midday, Newport News police say they made an arrest in connection with a shooting that happened on Friday, leaving a man seriously hurt. Police arrested 35-year-old Cortrez Logan. That was in connection with the shooting that happened on February 6th on 25th Street. Officers say they first found the victim when they noticed a vehicle was driving erratically near the intersection of 32nd Street and Roanoke Avenue. The driver was suffering from a gunshot wound. That victim went to the hospital with serious injuries, and we are working to learn his condition today. Check on air and online for those updates. Also new at midday from Norfolk, an arraignment today for a Portsmouth police officer charged with brandishing a firearm in connection to a shooting outside of Waterside the night of the Grand Illumination Parade. 22-year-old Brandon Davis is accused of pulling out his weapon in a Waterside parking garage on November 23rd. He was off duty at the time, and court papers filed in late December say that witnesses say Davis was driving by in a car, pointed the gun, directed racial slurs to a group of people. He is not accused of firing the weapon. Today he was formally charged. His next court date is February 18th.
We're following breaking news this morning as Norfolk police are investigating a shooting that happened overnight.
Yeah, it happened on East Little Creek Road. 10 on your side's Michael Rinker joins us live in Norfolk with what we know so far. Michael?
Katie, Kiana, we know that this was initially reported to police as a gunshot wound there on East Little Creek. It's in the area between Tidewater Drive and Chesapeake Boulevard. That call came in around 12:40 this morning, so just before 1 o'clock now. When 10 on Your Side was there, we saw a number of police officers inside and outside of a local business. They were there for about 2 hours. It was a pretty quick scene in terms of police and their presence there. But crime scene tape was outside what looks to be a nightclub. We saw officers inside the building and talking with people outside as well. Now, we're still working to confirm just how many people were injured, if any, but we do know that this initially came in as a gunshot wound, but Norfolk police have not released details about the extent of any injuries so far, or if there is any potential suspects in this case. And of course, as we continue to learn new details about this potential shooting, we will bring them to you throughout the morning here and also on wavy.com. Live in Norfolk, Michael Rinker, 10 on Your Side.
Michael, thank you. Suffolk firefighters responded to a shed fire on Wilroy Loop around 8 last night. The fire was under control 20 minutes later. Firefighters say the shed was heavily damaged, but the home is fine. No one was hurt. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Now to a scary situation at a Suffolk school. There was a lockdown at Nansman Parkway Elementary School yesterday morning. School leaders say an unauthorized man tried to enter the building. Police arrested 46-year-old Taurus Lappin, and now he's charged with disorderly conduct and trespassing. Students were inside and safe.
A Portsmouth police officer was in court yesterday, accused in connection to a shooting in downtown Norfolk. Brandon Davis is charged with brandishing a firearm. Investigators say witnesses told them Davis pulled out a gun at the Waterside parking garage during a fight between several people. Davis was off duty at the time. This all happened after the Grand Illumination Parade ended on November 23rd. Detectives charged 23-year-old Lauren Bailey for the actual shooting that left a 26-year-old man hurt. They say the victim was an innocent bystander. Prosecutors tell us surveillance video from the parking garage helped in this case. The Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia and the Eastern Shore is holding its winter relief mobile distribution this morning from 9 until 1.
It will be at the Veterans United Home Loans Amphitheater. 10 on Your Side's Kagan Hughes joins us live from the control room with everything you need to know. Good morning, Kagan.
Hey, good morning, Katie, Kiana. This distribution event was intentionally planned for January, but the winter weather postponed the last date. Now, during the holiday season, the food bank sees more donations and is able to pack their shelves. But after the new year, they see a drop in those donations, and they want to help ease anyone else's financial pressure. Today, the food bank and volunteers are expected to help more than 2,000 households. And they say they've started to see people line up hours before the event even starts. You'll not even have to get out of your car. Volunteers will come directly to you and help you through the process. The food bank will have fresh produce, protein, and shelf-stable items to make full meals.
People can pick up for up to 3 households. I think that's important to note. We get that these large-scale distributions are very targeted and not everybody can make it there. So if your neighbor or loved one also needs food, you are absolutely welcome to pick up for up to 3 households.
The food bank says it started to increase its mobile pantries in the western Tidewater area and the Eastern Shore. In the control room, Kagan Hughes, 10 on Your Side.
Things got pretty heated yesterday on Capitol Hill as immigration officials defended the president's mass deportation efforts and condemned threats against federal officers and law enforcement officers.
Now, it came amid questioning over recent deadly attacks on U.S. citizens in Minnesota. The acting ICE director, CBP commissioner, and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services director all faced tough questions while testifying before the House Homeland Security Committee.
They all praised the steps the Trump administration is taking to tackle what they call the immigration crisis while blaming Democrats.
Border Patrol apprehensions along the southwest border totaled over 90,000 for the entire year. That's a number that used to represent a single month under the Biden administration.
Well, how do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh, okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyon?
The president tasked us with mass deportation, and we are fulfilling that mandate.
The timing of the hearing was critical because it could have a big impact on the rapidly approaching funding deadline for the Department of Homeland Security.
And Senator Mark Warner continues to make his voice heard on the matter, sharing on social media, quote, no secret police. ICE agents should be held to the same standards as local law enforcement, no masks, and basic identification visible, end quote.
Closer to home, a redistricting battle for Virginia's congressional districts is moving forward after the House and Senate both passed proposals yesterday. The new map creates 10 congressional districts that favor Democrats and only one that favors a Republican. It's important to note the Senate and House passed separate bills. Once the House passes the Senate version of the bill, or vice versa, it'll then head to Governor Spanberger's desk.
New at midday, during a historic international trip, Vice President J.D. Vance addressed recent comments made by Olympic athletes on the political landscape in the United States. Vance participated in a ceremony in Azerbaijan earlier today for those who died during that country's break from the Soviet Union and territorial disputes from Armenia. The vice president was also there to help advance a U.S. brokered deal aimed at ending years of conflict between both sides. The trip comes after Vance spent 4 days in Milan at the Winter Olympics. Today, he addressed recent comments from Olympians who have voiced their disagreement with some of the Trump administration's policies.
You're going to have some Olympic athletes who pop off about politics. I feel like that happens every Olympics. My advice to them would be to try to bring the country together. And when you're representing the country, you're representing Democrats and Republicans. You're there to play a sport, and you're there to represent your country and hopefully win a medal. You're not there to pop off about politics. So when Olympic athletes enter the political arena, they should expect some pushback. But most Olympic athletes, whatever their politics, are doing a great job, are certainly enjoy the support of the entire country. And I think recognize that the way to bring the country together is not to show up in a foreign country and attack the President of the United States, but it's to play your sport and represent the country well.
But Vance did go on to praise the Olympic athletes and their sportsmanship.
We have a young man who's paying it forward. There's a certain pride in earning your first paycheck from your first job, but instead of spending the money on himself, he's helping others. And your side's Ethan Krause joins us with this act of generosity. Ethan?
Yeah, Tom. Folks, think back to working your first job. What did you do with your first paycheck? Save up for a car? Maybe you treated yourself to a nice shopping spree. Well, one Norfolk teen decided to do something a little different with one of his first paychecks, all in an effort to help others.
18-year-old Jesse Wade started his job at Burger King just a few weeks ago. At the same time, he noticed a need in his community. As the winter temperatures were being felt in Norfolk, Wade wanted to make sure those in need had the ability to stay warm.
I brought 100 blankets, and I walked around and started handing them out to people that was out because I knew how cold it was, and I didn't want them to freeze. They were thankful, and they had a smile on their face.
With one of his first paychecks, Wade bought blankets, hand warmers, and supplies and handed them out at the Center Homeless Shelter, the Salvation Army, and the Norfolk SPCA. Wade says that by helping others, he hopes to set an example for his two younger brothers.
It's like I wanted to show an example to the younger generation and to my two little brothers. It was good. I had a smile. I was happy that I did it and showed them what it was like.
Wade's father, Antoine, says he was proud of his son's decision to lend a helping hand, and that the two have already discussed ideas to help the community again this year.
Next thing is probably do like hot dogs or something like that during the summertime, or if we go through another cold weekend or week, probably try to do more blankets or hand warmers. Friends and family, we all support him, or all the boys, anything that they want to do positive, and I think that's big, and what the community needs is for the parents and friends and families to pull together and show everyone that we all is one.
Now, Antoine told me that he hopes others in the community will see the example that his son is setting and eventually follow his lead.
New this morning, Hampton Roads Transit has received more than $850,000 in federal funding to expand the paratransit fleet.
That money will be used to improve the services. Paratransit has shared is a rideshare public service for people with disabilities who are not able to use the fixed route public transportation option. And with $850,000, it will grow the paratransit fleet for people who will use it to get to work, medical appointments, shopping, and more. Right now, that fleet is just 116 ADA accessible vehicles.
HRT's paratransit service saw ridership grow by 7% compared to last year and has an average of 36,000 monthly customers.
A Norfolk man says the city is not allowing him to use the land that he bought from them.
Yeah, Luke Reed says he's been stuck in a legal battle with the city for more than 4 years after he bought 5 pieces of property in Ocean View for $68,000 in a tax sale. He has a goal to open a business on the land. The city even demanded he buy property for off-site parking before he gets approval to develop. However, Reed says he has been blocked from developing the land, and his personal property has even been removed because the city claims control through some complicated real estate laws.
And that puts us at a position where how am I supposed to develop anything or bring anything to the community if when I meet all of your requirements, it's up to you whether or not you like it or not. That doesn't seem fair.
See what the city has to say in Battle for Pretty Lake. Our Kagan Hughes has the full story tonight on Wavy News 10 at 5:30.
Speed cameras will soon be activated around several Virginia Beach public schools. Starting next week, cameras will be active near elementary schools, including Red Mill, Centerville, and John B. Dye. Later this year, cameras will be added to 4 other locations in Virginia Beach, and those fines for speeders is $100, but there will start with a 30-day warning period.
It takes a lot of time off of the cops' hands. But I just feel like there's a lot of room for error with it too, and there's going to be a learning curve.
If it's a problem with people speeding, then they should do something to try and slow it down and make them conform to the speed limit. But if it's not a problem and they're just doing it for income, then, I think it's wrong.
A bill that would affect the regulation of speed cameras just passed unanimously in the Virginia General Assembly in a subcommittee there. Attorney Tim Anderson, who has challenged the use of these cameras in court, tells 10 on Your Side that he believes the bill will pass and it will lead to changes in some local cities. In Norfolk, state police are investigating a crash involving 3 cars. It happened around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon on Interstate 64 near the mile marker of 279. Now, troopers say a speeding white car ran into a pickup truck and then that truck hit another car. The white car then drove away. We are working to learn if anyone was hurt.
State police issued a Cody alert for a 13-year-old girl who is missing out of Goochland County. Troopers say she might be with another missing teen. Isabella Shiflett has been missing since Monday. State police say she may be in danger. The Goochland County Sheriff's Office says Shiflett may be traveling with Sean Childress. You can see both of their pictures on your screen. Deputies did not say how long he has been missing, but they say the two may be riding a motorized bike. Shiflett and Childress were last spotted on Lowry Road early Tuesday morning. If you've seen either teen, call the Goochland County Sheriff's Office.
We have breaking news just into the Wavy newsroom. The Navy says 2 ships have collided while patrolling the Caribbean Sea. At least 2 people are hurt with minor injuries. One of the ships is the USS Truxtun, which just left Norfolk earlier this month. This is video of that deployment. The other ship is the USNS Supply, a replenishment ship. The cause of the collision right now is under investigation. We are working to get more information, and we will have more on this breaking story on Wavy News 10 at 4 o'clock. In Washington, Republicans and Democrats cannot seem to come to an agreement regarding ICE and Border Patrol reforms. A funding deadline is set for tomorrow, and it could mean a partial DHS shutdown. Now, it is important to note that ICE has already been fully funded through the rest of the Trump administration, but a DHS shutdown would significantly impact the workforce, airport security, cybersecurity, FEMA, and emergency responses. Democrats want reform concerning federal agents and accountability. Republicans disagree. We'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, 10 on Your Side received several reports of federal agents making arrests in our area. We obtained this video from Virginia Beach. It shows an officer wearing a bulletproof vest with police on the back. It also shows a woman who was on the way to wash clothes at a laundromat on Newtown Road. Her window was broken. The agents allegedly took her out of the car, handcuffed her, and put her in the back of an SUV. People in the community said they think this was unnecessary.
I don't have an opinion about this situation. I don't think they should have busted her window. She got out the car willingly to me. But I don't know what happened before your video.
That is absolutely terrible. That's all I can say about it. That's very scary. It's a lot of people out here. That's not right. That's really uncalled for.
10 on Your Side's Andy Fox also found ICE agents at a local mobile home park. You can see here he chased after their car to ask why they were there. We also reached out to ICE. They received the email but have not yet responded to it.
Breaking news in the death of a Norfolk woman who was first reported missing, then later declared the victim of a homicide. Norfolk police just charged a suspect with first-degree murder. Investigators say 38-year-old David Varela killed 39-year-old Lina Guerra. We're waiting for Varela's picture. As we told you, Guerra first was reported missing on February 4th.
Detectives found her at a home in the Icon building on East Main Street the next day. The medical examiner ruled Guerra's death as homicide. At this point, police have not released any information on a motive or any circumstances surrounding this death. Stay with us on air and online for additional updates.
And breaking news from Virginia Beach, 4 people were hurt in a school bus crash. It happened just after 2 o'clock this afternoon on Witch Duck Road near Virginia Beach Boulevard. Police say no students were hurt.
But 4 people in other vehicles were. 3 of them were treated on the scene and 1 was taken to a hospital. We are told the injuries are non-life-threatening. We're working to find out how this crash happened and if anyone faces charges.
More breaking news this afternoon. The Navy says a Marine was lost at sea after falling overboard from the USS Iwo Jima. We're told it happened Saturday night. Crews searched for Lance Corporal Chukwumeka Ufura for 72 hours around the clock. He is from Florida.
The USS Iwo Jima is also home ported at Naval Station Norfolk. This is video from when it deployed in August of last year. The Navy says it used several helicopters, boats, and airplanes to search the Caribbean Sea for the missing Marine.
We are following breaking news from Norfolk. Police say a man was hurt in a shooting. This happened around 11:20 last night on Piccadilly Street and Wellington Street. The man was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. We are working this morning to learn more from Norfolk Police, so stick with us on air and online for those updates.
We are also following breaking news this morning. Portsmouth police are investigating a deadly crash. It happened around 11 o'clock last night near the intersection of Elm Avenue and High Street. That intersection was closed into the early morning hours, but it has reopened. We'll be sure to let you know as soon as we learn more details.
Health officials are warning of a possible second wave of the flu. This comes after what has been one of the worst flu seasons in decades. Thank you for joining us on Fox 43. I'm Julia Avery in for Kiana Patterson.
And I'm Katie Collette. In January, flu-related doctor's visits reached the highest level seen in 25 years nationwide. 10 on Your Side's Michael Rinker joins us in the studio with more details on what the doctors have to say this morning. Michael?
Yeah, good morning, Katie and Julia. Of 27 states, Virginia is one of those 27 states that at the end of January saw high levels of flu cases and transmissions. According to the CDC, most of those cases are influenza type A, but B is growing in numbers. So doctors say now is the time to get vaccinated. And here in Virginia, our vaccination rate is pretty low. Just 30% of the state population has a flu vaccine that protects you from both A and B. The 2 groups that are most at risk are seniors 65 and older and children younger than 4. Nationally, 90% of all pediatric deaths were children who did not get the vaccine. And at the end of January, just in the last week, 8 children died from the flu. Now, the worst of the flu season has been attributed to the H3N2 subclade K variant, which is also known as the super flu. And after 4 weeks of decreasing flu numbers, influenza B cases are rising, and local doctors say there's still time to curb that trend.
It may not prevent completely from not getting the disease, but it dramatically reduces the risk, the complications, hospitalization rate. So you live through it and you do okay. And that to me is what's the bottom line of importance.
Now here in our area, Eastern Virginia, the Department of Health has diagnosed 583 flu cases, and 2.1% of emergency visits are related to the flu. Those numbers are trending down, and that's why Dr. Welch and many in her community are encouraging everyone to get the vaccine to keep those numbers low. Michael Rinker, 10 on your side.
Michael, thank you. 8:03 now, and we have developing news from Virginia Beach. A single vehicle crash hurt a driver in Virginia Beach. It happened just after 6 yesterday morning on Virginia Beach Boulevard. The driver was taken to the hospital and is expected to be just fine. We're working to learn more about how it happened.
And in Chesapeake, there was an unusual theft at a Chesapeake drugstore. Police say the man on your screen took a DoorDash bag as well as $1,400 worth of birth control pills. To be exact, it was 28 boxes of Plan B. Investigators say it happened last Tuesday, so take a look at your screen. If you recognize this man in the baseball hat, call the crime line or use the P3 Tips app on your phone.
Developing news now. We have multiple reports that say the Norfolk-based USS Gerald R. Ford and its strike group are headed to the Middle East.
And it's joining the USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group in the Persian Gulf. 10 on your side's Kagan Hughes is joining us live in the control room with those details.
Yeah, good morning, Julia, Katie. USS Gerald R. Ford left Norfolk in June for deployment, but was supposed to be in Europe. After getting redirected to the Caribbean as part of the President Trump's campaign against Venezuela, it's now headed to the Middle East. USS Gerald R. Ford's deployment to the Middle East comes after President Trump indicated another round of talks with the Iranians. According to AP, the negotiations did not work out once top security officials from both countries met and exchanged messages. Now, no word yet on how long the ship will remain in the Middle East as talks continue between the two countries. Kagan Hughes, 10 on your side.
Student protests are expected to take place at Manor High School in Portsmouth. One is set for around 12:30, the other 20 minutes after that. Students told Wavy News 10 that the protests were initially student-led, but the principal has now made them a school-sponsored activity. 10 on your side has also received reports of walkouts planned for February 20th at Kempsville High School in Virginia Beach and another in Gloucester County schools. 10 on your side's Ashley Knight is covering today's walkouts. She'll have a live report coming up at 12:30, and you can read more right now on wavy.com.
Now we get into Saturday and light and variable winds to start the day. Cool start to the day. It'll be around 29, 30 degrees, and then we'll warm on up. This is going 51. I'm going closer to 55, 56 during the afternoon coming up on Saturday with the southwesterly breeze. Lots of sunshine. I think we'll start to warm up pretty nicely. But what's this with the cloud cover later in the day? Well, it's in advance of some rainfall, maybe a stray shower on Sunday morning. Much more likely though once we hit the afternoon hours. You saw us hitting the low 50s and then dropping on down once the rain began into the area. And it's likely to be a moderately heavy rain coming up by the dinner hour, by 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. Moderately heavy rainfall moving on through, and we could see substantial amounts of rain, an inch, inch and a half, maybe even 2 inches of rainfall here and there. There's where things are. By 11 o'clock at night, the heaviest of the rainfall has ended. Now we've got more of a northerly wind flow into the area and really quite breezy, if not out now windy, 27 to 40 mile an hour winds by 3 o'clock in the morning, and maybe even a flake or two of snow. Not real concerned about it. Look at how skinny that band of snow is on the back edge of things. And with temperatures at 35 to 37, again, that's not concerning at all. It would be just a little bit of slush that would likely go away real quickly and not stick on the roads. 37 at 7 in the morning, 30 to to 45 mile an hour winds, 29 to 40 mile an hour winds Monday morning at 9. So again, very active weather coming up, especially for Sunday during the afternoon hours, late afternoon hours. I think it will rain heavily into the evening hours. Could end as a little bit of snow for some of us, but I think most of us it will be just some scattered showers, dropping to 36 and rising back out up to about 49 by later on in the day. So again, cool Friday, beautiful day on Saturday. Sunday, man, it's going to be a washout in the afternoon. Rain comes to an end early on Monday, and then temperatures next week rebound very nicely into the 50s and low 60s.
Breaking news from Portsmouth right now. Police say they have arrested 5 juveniles in connection to the deadly shooting of 13-year-old Jakari Corbett. Corbett was gunned down in December of last year on Atlanta Avenue. The ages of the suspects range between 15 and 16. They are facing several charges, including aggravated murder, robbery, and possession of a firearm by a minor. A homicide investigation is breaking news from Williamsburg. Police say just before midnight Wednesday night, they responded to Kings Manor Drive, that's off Richmond Road. They say they found 33-year-old Antonio Knight dead in an apartment.
Investigators say he had been shot. They tell us this appears to be an isolated incident. So far, no information about a suspect or possible motive. Call the crime line or use the P3 Tips app if you know anything. More breaking news, this from Suffolk. That's where 10 people have been arrested after raids on vape shops in the city. You can see on the map there, they are scattered across the city. In all, 9 locations were investigated by federal, state, and local authorities. Police say those businesses were also selling illegal drugs. The people arrested are all charged with possession with intent to deliver marijuana. And more breaking news involving last night's deadly crash in Portsmouth. Police just told us 2 people were killed. It happened just before 11 o'clock on High Street and Elm Avenue. 3 vehicles were involved.
Detectives say 23-year-old Naasia Hill and 24-year-old DeAndre Lilly were in a car that was hit by another vehicle. The force of that impact pushed their car into a pickup truck. Both Hill and Lilly died on the scene. The driver of the car that caused the crash was hurt and was taken to a hospital. We are told alcohol was a factor. No word yet on any charges in this case.
Several students in parts of Hampton Roads participated in a walkout protest today, protesting ICE activity. A couple students at Manor High School in Portsmouth participated, and Manor High's principal said he met with the student coordinator to set rules and boundaries for those wishing to participate. Also at Deep Creek High School in Chesapeake, there were around 30 students protesting on the corner of George Washington Highway and Galberry Road. That group was made up mostly of Hispanic students waving the flags of their countries. We talked with a Deep Creek senior about the protest.
We are protesting ICE. We are protesting them taking children away from families, ripping mothers away from all their families, and it does not make sense. Nobody is illegal on stolen land.
On at 4, a not guilty verdict for a man accused in a recent deadly shooting in Norfolk. The attorney for Shaquille McKesson says a jury acquitted him today. 10 on Your Side was there as he walked out of jail this afternoon. He was facing a first-degree murder and firearms charge in the July shooting of Erica Wright on Bagnell Road. 10 on Your Side caught up with McKesson's attorney as his client was released from the Norfolk jail.
It's the best feeling possible. I can't describe it. It's what we work so hard for. And this is flesh and blood. These are real people. He has a life. He doesn't deserve to be in jail.
Now, the shooting was just one in a long line of violent cases in the Calvert Square neighborhood. Community activists called on people to end the gunfire. You can read more about that on wavy.com.